Okay, hey, welcome to the shop. We're working on a boat.
It's a channel where we share tips and tricks to help you working on your boat and to have a great time while you do it. The jokes are campy, the production value is cheap, but the information is priceless. So stay tuned. My name's Eric with New Point Marine. Grab your tool bag. Let's work on a boat.
Okay, hey, welcome to the docks. We are working on a boat. So today I want to do something a little bit different and show you this. A little different for us. We're going to do a little carpentry today. And what I want to do here is, we had a cabinet face here that we were replacing. And when we took this cabinet face off to replace it, to make our pattern to replace it, we found that there's like a little void spot between the hull here and down in here where the cabinet would go. And when we took this off, we found all the little things, all the little treasures that have, over the past 40 years, have fallen into this locker because it didn't have doors. It just had a little opening right here. And everything that got dropped in there, from clothespins to potato chips to playing cards and all that, we found way down here in the bottom because they were just not retrievable anymore once they got down into this small spot. So what I thought is, while we've got this out, I want to go ahead and put a little floor in the bottom of this locker, so that if anything does fall in here, it falls on the floor and we can reach in and grab it and not have to fish for it way down here. So what I wanted to do was show you how we go about making a pattern for an awkward little shape here, because it's kind of small, so we can't really use a ticking stick. That's another video. But, and you know, we could sit here and do trial by error with a piece of cardboard and try to get it to fit, but it's too much trouble. So I want to show you how we go about making a irregular shaped pattern really quick and easy. So we'll go ahead and do that now. It'll be fun. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's make this pattern. And what we've got here is, this is going to be a cleat that's going to be secured to the cabinetry on either side, and then that will hold the cabinet face on, screwed from the back, once we get that in. And like I said, what I want is this shelf to rest on this cleat and then rest over here on the ceiling strips on the side of the hull here, so nothing falls down into the void. So we're going to end up with something a little like, sitting in there a little like that. And since it's angled here and we got an edge here, this can be removable, so that'll be nice. So we can go ahead and make this into two pieces so we can reach in and remove them through the small hole that's here. So anyway, let's get started. What are we going to need to do this? What do we need to make our pattern? Well, what we're going to make our pattern out of is this. This is what we call door skin plywood. It's very, very thin strips of plywood, and you know, we get this in a 4x8 sheet and we go into the shop and we rip it down into these little strips so we can use it. It's very cheap and really easy to work with. And we need something to cut this so that we can put it in, and since it's so thin, you can use a razor knife, you can use a stout pair of scissors, you could even you know, today I'm just going to use this pair of 10 snips I had laying around. Now, to get the pattern to stay all together for us, hot melt glue. It's wonderful good stuff, and the hot glue is actually holding this cleat in place for us temporary until we get our pattern made, and then we can just pop this off. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first thing I want to do is let's get the piece that's going to be sitting on our cleat here first. So to do that, I'm just going to take my door skin, put it in place where I want it. Find a pen. There's a pen. And just make a little mark about there. Okay. So now, just take my 10 snips, cut that off. Now, I want this to stay in place, so what I'm going to do is, with my hot glue gun, just a couple of dabs. On there, and put that right in place. Okay, so that piece of our pattern has established this line. Now we need to get this angle along the hull. So what we're going to do there, I'll take my little piece that I cut off earlier, this, and I'm going to just lay it in there and let it butt up. And take you with me. And just let it butt up against the ceiling strips right there where I want it to be. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Alright, so there we've established that line. Move it back here a little bit. There we go. Alright, so now I'm going to move to this end and we'll get this measurement. Well, the great things about doing this is that you don't have to be precise in most of your measurements. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm just going to put this in there and get about there. Cut them off. And same as we did down there, we're just going to put a little bit of glue and press him in there and hold him until he sets. Now, why do I not have to be so accurate on my measurements? I'll show you. Well, because we've got this measurement here, we've got this measurement here, and anything that's hanging out, we just ignore it when we're making our piece. So there we go. All right, so now we just need to get a line right along here. So let's do it. Action. All right, so I've got another piece. I'm going to set that in. And let's see. And I'll go ahead and glue him in place. Okay, so what we've got our edge here measured. We got our edge here, and we got our edge here. Now across the back, if you can see, this piece here is a straight line, but this hull is not a straight line. So I'll show you what we do with that. Alright, so I got my short piece of door skin to go in here so that we can get this measurement. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little angle on the end here, just a little bit. Something like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this one in, but I'm going to let that tip, just the tip, touch out there and give us that measurement. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm just going to go ahead and continue with the same sort of process here. We're just going to cut a couple of pieces with a little point on them and put them in here, touching. We're going to ignore this edge. This is the one we're interested in. And what we're going to do here is where the point of our pattern lands, that's going to be a mark on our workpiece. And then we'll just connect the dots all the way along, and that'll give us this measurement, this angle back at the shop when we do it. And we'll take this back to the shop, and we'll cut the piece for this and come back and fit it up, and you'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple more of these in, and we'll take this out and get it back to the shop. Cut the workpiece. And the more little reference points you have, the more accurate your workpiece will be. So we're going to put a few more in. Okay, so here's our pattern that we just made, and like I said, we have this line right along the cleat where the shelf is going to sit, and we have this line along here where it's going to rest on the ceiling strips along the hull here, and each little point is going to give us a reference mark on the workpiece. So this corner here is one reference mark, reference mark, reference mark, reference mark, 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 and this little corner here is also a reference mark. So we'll just make that, connect the dots, cut along that line. Now I'm going to go ahead and very, very carefully get this off, because this stuff is pretty fragile, and it's glued down with the hot melt glue. We'll get it off the cleat. We'll go back to the shop, and we'll make us a workpiece here. So stand by. All right, here we go. Let's get this thing off. Very easily go between the cleat and the pattern with my utility knife. Try not to cut into either one of them. All right, so here we go. We have our pattern. There's our line along the hull, our line at the forward end of the cabinet, line at the back, and then our line along the cleat. And we're just going to just ignore these pieces that are hanging down. We're just work around them. They're not important to us. This line is what we want. So let's take this back to the shop and make this shelf.
All right, so here we're back at the shop now. We've got our pattern that we made down on the boat, and we're going to go ahead and transfer the measurements that we have here off our pattern onto our workpiece. And we're going to go ahead and cut the shelf out and take it to the boat and see how it fits. And action. Okay, so here we go. We've got our piece here that we're going to use for the shelf. This is just a piece of marine grade 1/4-inch Dougie fir plywood, and we've got our pattern set on that. Let me get things out of the way. So what I want to do is, because this is the edge that we wanted to align with our cleat in the face of our cabinet on the inside, we're going to go ahead and just put a couple of clamps. I'm going to line up the corner there, the edge of that, clamp that, and we are ignoring these bits. Not important to us. This is the measurement we want. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there and clamp him down just to hold him in place while we do this. All right, so now I'm going to just go ahead and transfer the lines from our pattern. And down this edge, because these are the points that referenced against the hull, we're just going to make a mark at that corner, make a mark at that point, make a mark at that point, and so on and so forth. Sorry, this angle's a little awkward. I'm trying to reach over the bench and work so that the camera's not in the way, but you get the gist of it. All right, so we're still on our edge there. It's good. Right now we're pretty much done with our pattern, so we can toss that. These are the points we want to work with. So give me a minute, let me get set up, and we will transfer this line and we'll cut this thing. Okay, we are recording. Okay, so we've got our pattern out of the way, and we need to make this line here to match the curvature of our hull. So the way we're going to do that, we're going to make this curve using a straight edge. So watch this. Over here I've just clamped a block on at the corner, another block on at the corner, and these are the ends of the thing. So we're going to use these to support our straight edge, and then we'll mark that curve. So what we'll do, I just have a little aluminum ruler. I'm going to set it down there, there, and I'm going to just press this out, make a bow until I've got 3 points of my pattern right here. 1, 2, 3. So just go ahead and make that curve. Over here, the curve changes a little, so we're going to go bend that until I get a point and a point. Make that. Now I have this point here to make, so we'll just bend our straight edge until our points match. And the same over here. There's a point, point, and a point. So we're just going to go ahead and carry that on out. So there we go. We have a curve that should match our hull. So I'm going to go ahead and use a bandsaw to cut this out because I have a bandsaw, and we'll take it to the boat and we'll see how it fits and make any adjustments we need to make. So so stick around.
Okay, and action. Action. All right, so here we are. We're live on scene. We're back on the boat. We've got our little piece that we cut out back at the shop that we made with our pattern that we want to put in our cabinet here so that things don't fall way down in there and get lost forever. So let's go ahead and see how this fits, and we'll check this out. So we're just going to try and slip it in there a little snug end to end. That's okay. And we want to match up to our cleat here. That's pretty good. It's not too bad. Here, let me take a look. So here we go. See, we need to trim a little bit right here. Not a big deal. And along this edge here, this was done with the bandsaw, so it's a little rough. So we're going to clean that up. And this angle is pretty good. So this is just going to sit down here in the bottom and prevent anything from falling into the void. And since it's going to be right here, it's a kind of a small rectangular opening that you put things in. I want to be able to get this out one day, so I'm going to cut it in half, make 2 pieces, and then we can remove them one at a time. I also need to measure and make a little notch for a piece of sealing strip here that's going to cover our screw heads, and so I need to go ahead and make a mark right there for that piece of wood that's going to cover our screw heads. So anyway, okay, here we go. So yeah, it's not too bad. We need to clean it up a little bit. So how do we go about cleaning this up and getting this edge nice and smooth? Get rid of the bandsaw marks? Well, we are going to go at it with, I'm going to go at it with a block of wood and some coarse sandpaper along the edge. And if we got anything, and a block plane. So we'll go ahead and trim it up like that with our block plane and our block of wood with sandpaper on it, and it'll fit beautifully. We're going to go ahead and paint this and put it in. We won't bore you with the painting, but anyway, that is how we go about making a pattern to make an awkward sized or shaped shelf to fit in places on our boat. And we use this method quite a lot, and it works really, really well. So hey, that's our show. Till next time, keep working on your boat.